government hopes to vaccinate half of the 12 to 17-year-olds before the December holidays. Acting Health Director General Nicholas Cripps joins us now. Thanks so much for your time, Doctor. We appreciate it. I think let's just start off with why government decided to include those between the ages of 12 to 17 years old to get one Pfizer dose.
Good afternoon, Heidi, and hello to the viewers. Sorry I wasn't able to hear what Rudzani said, but the reason the decision was taken was, first of all, this has been a debated issue for weeks, if not months already. It has been viewed by the Ministerial Advisory Committee on Vaccines, and they've been watching which vaccines we are able to use. And then there was an application by Pfizer to the regulator, SAHPRA, asking for the authority or the approval to go ahead with using the vaccine under the age of 18, which they did grant some time ago. There have been a lot of parents asking about this. There are families who want to go overseas, either on holiday or because they work abroad and their children can't go with them because they aren't vaccinated. There are children who are ending school now who are going abroad to study at the end of their matrics who need to be vaccinated. There are a large number of children who have some or other form of immunocompromised condition who we would like to vaccinate anyway. So there are a whole host of combined factors, and we do have vaccine available at the moment. So the decision was taken not to delay it any further, but to start in good time before the matric exams start in a week's time.
What is the target, and by when are you hoping to have vaccinated this age group?
So for this age group, it's more the demand from the age group that is a target than a target. The big target is adults, and the main target is older adults. So our focus will remain on those over the age of 60 and those over the age of 65 as our sub-cohorts, and then over the age of 18 as the adults. We have always said we would like to get to at least 2/3. And the government has repeatedly said we'd like to get at least 70% of that group with at least one vaccine before the end of the year. We're behind on that target, but at least we are doing very well on the 60-pluses and the 50-pluses, and they remain the focus. The vaccinating children is less of an issue, except for those who are immunocompromised, who we will be working with clinicians in the coming weeks to make sure that they send their patients for vaccination.
Dr. Cripps, what happens in areas where, remote areas and rural areas where ideally it would be Johnson & Johnson that's rolled out? Will Pfizer still be used in those areas for the age group 12 to 17 years old?
Yeah, so the only vaccine that's registered for use in that age group that we use in South Africa is Pfizer. So that's the vaccine that we will use. We won't use Johnson & Johnson vaccine for children under the age of 18.
Okay, and then just speak to us about the issue around consent. At 2 o'clock, in fact, we will be speaking to parents who are pro this and parents who aren't. And I know that yesterday you mentioned that the Child Act makes provisions for those over the age of 12 to basically make their own decision. Surely, there's some backlash with regards to this, because many would say, if you're 12 years old, what position are you in to make such a big health decision?
Well, it's a smaller health decision than many health decisions that children already take at the moment. Children take decisions to go into family planning, to terminate pregnancies, to take a whole range of medications. So it's that provision of the Child Act that allows a child to present themselves. They may even consent to operations. It's not something that's new. We didn't invent it for vaccination. It is an available part of our legislation which enables a child to come forward. We have a lot of single parent families, and we have a lot of child-headed families. And in those child-headed families, many of those children are under the age of 18 and have to make much bigger decisions than this in their lives. So we have a complex environment. We recognize that some parents will be unhappy, some will be supportive, but we have a precedent, we have a law that enables children to do it. And obviously one needs to be judicious how you apply the law, but I'm not a lawyer, and you will obviously hear further comment from legal people.
Sure, definitely. And then, Dr. Chris, speak to us about the issue around people not coming back for their second Pfizer dose. How serious is the problem, and which provinces are of concern for the Department of Health?
Yeah, fortunately, that's not a very big problem. Sometimes people delay. It's not always convenient. People who have taken an opportunity to be vaccinated while they are in town or near a vaccination station may have a couple of weeks or months before they're able to get back and get to a vaccination site again. Sometimes people get sick and then they don't vaccinate, or they travel and so forth. But we monitor up to 120 days, which is still perfectly fine. And in fact, you can come for your second Pfizer dose even after that. Some countries actually fixed it at 90 days. So although we make our second Pfizer dose interval 42 days, up to 90 days is still regarded as within the normal treatment schedule for a primary vaccination course. But up to 120 days, we are seeing extremely good returns, and there's no particular problem in any specific part of the country.
So you don't have the figure of perhaps those who didn't come back for their second Pfizer dose that were vaccinated in May already when that 60 cohort opened up?
I'm sure the people who are working with us every day do have it, but you may be aware I have other obligations at the moment, so I'm not as close to the vaccination program as I was, and I'm afraid I don't have it on my fingertips, but we can certainly provide it.
Okay, speaking of other obligations, Dr. Crispy, last week when we spoke to the Health Minister, he said that you were in the process of finalising the disciplinary processes for those 7 health officials that have been placed on precautionary suspension. Are you able to give us any update with regards to that?
Yeah, so the investigating officers were appointed. They indicated to me that they would like to speak to a number of people who are referred to in the SIU report. Yesterday, I got a report that they have concluded their interviews with all of those. Are not people who were accused. They were in the SIU, in the Department of Health, in Treasury, and elsewhere, because they wanted to be sure about the formulation of charges. They've informed me yesterday that that process is concluded. And I will meet with them on Tuesday, where they will take me through the charges that they believe, now that they've investigated and interviewed everybody involved, that they believe we can set to each of the people who has been suspended.
Okay, great. Thanks so much for that. We'll let you focus on that and not how many people have not gone back for their second jab. Thanks so much for always making yourself available. That was Dr. Nicholas Crisp, the Acting Director General from the Department of Health.